when they got home from school, at, you know, whatever time it was, they would be in the kitchen with me by myself. I would be preparing dinner. I'd throw them a vegetable peeler or something, and I would have them. It's like people say to you, like a great place to have a conversation with your children is in the car because they can't go anywhere. Well, if they're in the kitchen with a job to do, you know, whether it be peeling potatoes or carrots or whatever, that's a good place. Not only was it a time of connection, it was also an opportunity for me to teach my kids. And as a result of that, all of them eat very intelligently, very mindfully, and everyone's a critic. But one of the great meals that we used to get from fondas was Pollo Guisado, braised chicken, and white rice and pink beans with salchichon. It's like pepperoni, right? I mean, that to me is like comfort food.
You can't go wrong with that,
right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I made a couple of substitutions. Like in the beans, I used, instead of using like the traditional ham hock, I switched it out to smoked turkey wings. So you get the smoke flavor, but it's a little bit healthier for those of us that are like, no, for those of you who are a little more health conscious, because I believe everything in moderation. So they're pretty hysterical, but they have very sophisticated palates as a result of all of that teaching and all of their emotional connections to food. What we're going to season, first we're going to rinse and pat the chicken dry. Then we're going to season it, salt and pepper. Or for the die-hard Latinos, we could do a little adobo. We could either make up. You guys made your own dry adobo, remember?
Yes, I have.
Or you can get the commercial stuff. But so we'll use a little adobo on this, and then we're going to pan sear it in a little bit of achote oil to get a little color on it. As the chicken colors, you know, gets a nice golden brown, we're going to take it out. Then to the drippings, all the soups that are stuck in the bottom of the pan from the chicken, we're going to add our sofrito, we're going to add our caparrado, we're going to add some cumin, we're going to add a little bit of cinnamon to give it, you know, some sweetness. We're gonna add cubed potatoes, because I love pollo guisado with cubed potatoes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll put like some sliced mushrooms in there and really, you know, just play with it. But and we can even deglaze the pan with a little white wine, you know, if it's Sunday and company's coming over. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's not fancy food. It's comfort food. My son Eric has always been very loquacious. He, you know, there were times when he was a little boy, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and he would I would take him out to lunch. That would be like our thing. So we would go out to lunch and I couldn't get a word in edgewise because Eric was born 80 years old and he pontificates. He's pontificated since he was able to talk, and he still does so now. Tell him that, and I told this to all my boys and they came back to tell me, Mom, you were right. Girls find boys who cook very sexy. Very sexy. Are you listening, Justin? Listen, yeah. My son Eric, when he went away, he went to college. He would call me up on Sundays and say, Ma, I'm making empanadas for 50 people. How much meat do I need? I said, empanadas for 50 people? I can't get you to pick up your socks off the floor, but you're making empanadas for 50 people. Why? Because his roommates found out that he could cook. And
he was elected.
He would cook. The girls found out that on Sundays, Eric would cook.
And he was it.
His roommates were like, dude, you don't have to wash a single spoon. We'll do all the cleaning. We'll clean everything.
You just
cook.
That is what you're saying.
That's exactly right. And then, you know, and his brothers followed suit. And I remember driving Mark to school one morning, and I had to pull the car over because out of nowhere this kid says to me, and he must have been maybe 3 years old. He said to me, Mom, is God happy with the way the world is today? That was Mark. Those were the kinds of things that Mark would talk about. Either that or he'd talk with like different accents. And Mark would go to the bathroom, like in the morning I'd be in the kitchen fixing breakfast, and Mark would go into the bathroom and I would end up on the other side of the bathroom door because he would be doing voices in there, like with accents and everything. And I'd be like, Mark, is everything okay in there? What's going on?
A new taste. A new taste.
And sometimes my mom would throw, isn't that good? Mm. My mom would throw a potato in there with the salchichon.
Yeah.
And that would add a little more starch. But since we're adding potatoes, since we're adding potatoes to the pollo guisado, I don't want to potato everything out. Does that mean?
Yeah.
You could also, instead of potatoes in the pollo guisado, you could add whatever mushrooms you'd like. You could add porcinis, you could add button mushrooms. You know,
throw that in towards the end because they don't really need that much.
Yeah. David is part leprechaun. I always thought that he was like my practical joker. Although all the kids have a really great sense of humor, David was the one that for April Fool's Day put the hair tie on the hose on the kitchen sink, so that when I turned the water on, I'd get sprayed with that was yeah. And he called one of his teachers penis breath, and we got called. He got called in to go. That was my David.
And also, kind of like you said, being home, empty nest, alone. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
It's a new chapter in our lives.
Yes.
You know, it is.
You have to reinvent yourself.
Right.
What you've done.
Well, I'm doing.
You're doing.
Smack in the middle.
Well, everything is a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you come up with new ideas and new challenges, and you just kind of you have to roll with it.
Sink or swim, girls. Sink or swim. Mm-hmm. And it would just twist me that she was so sweet and so good and so smart and so gorgeous and so just add the adjectives, the adjectives, because those are all the things that Angela was and is. And she'd be home in tears because some little witch at school who was incredibly jealous of her had to try and make her feel bad to make themselves feel good. And I wanted to go into school. I didn't care how old they were. I wanted to go in there and rip somebody's tits off. You know, I was just, you know, how dare you? And the frustration that I, as a mother, felt trying to convince her from where I'm standing, having been through all of that, and now as a woman looking back, that none of that really matters.
And I had some boys tease me. What I do is I get back at them, like the stuff out the window. Like the match cars, their favorite toys. I throw them out the window. They bother me.
It's always the quiet ones over there.
They go on their desk, they go, "Oh, where's my match car?" Because you know, those days I had the nice fancy metal one that the doors open on the side. And then they go and they find it missing. I'm thinking, oh, if they only knew. There's one. Where's my pencil case? Oh, I don't know.
So right around 7th grade, I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I don't need this. I can take care of me. While you guys are worried about what 45s you're gonna buy this weekend at the mall, or you know, saving your money, I was on it. I was doing programs, like I did an executive internship program with the March of Dimes, and I started figuring out Staten Island is not the place for me. I need to be out of here.
There's a lot of awareness.
Yes, now.
To it
yes.
now.
Yeah.
So that people don't get away, kids don't get away with it as much.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not anymore. You used to get this. It's kids being kids.
Kids being kids. Mm-hmm. They'll learn to fight their own battles. Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, you have kids who are getting hurt, who are committing suicide because they can't deal with it anymore, and no one knows how serious it is until it's already too late.
Right. Well, I think all of those things that have occurred have been brought to light
have
made everything super sensitive.
Unfortunately, they've kind of paved the way for a better situation, but they've paid for it. A lot of these kids, unfortunately.
No, the kids were mean back then. Imagine the stuff they say now. They curse. They tell you.
With the social media.
Oh my God! Well, that's a whole new playground now to be a bully in.
And the thing is that it's one thing face to face.
Yeah.
When you're confronting someone,
but
teasing.
Yeah, the internet gives you anonymity, and it kind of protects
and
you.
And it also makes people, people meaner.
Less guarded.
You may not say the same thing to someone face to face.
Absolutely.
Instantly send pictures.
Absolutely.
And
It's worse now.
And of course, it gets sent out within seconds, so
Yeah.
it's very damaging.
Yeah, but now that I think because before it was kids being kids, now there are legal implications. So I think parents are getting a lot more involved, and they have to be held responsible because,
Which is a good thing and about time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is bad.
Okay, so there'll always be mean kids. They have to be meaner moms.
Yeah.
They'll go out there and rip somebody's tits off. I don't know.